So today, guys, we are continuing with linear function part 3. We are going to find the equation of this graph. So now we've got a line here. This is a straight line, by the way, guys, and we've got 2 points, this point and this one. And let us firstly identify the coordinates of each point. This point has got coordinates of 8 and -1. X is 8 and y is -1. But this point has got only 3. They can write this in examination. They can only write 3 in the examination to try and confuse you at some point. But just know that if a line or a point is on a y-axis line, this one is a y-axis line. If any point that sits or that touches the y-axis line, like this one, just know that its x-coordinate is equals to 0. Therefore, coordinates of this point are 0 and positive 3. I hope you get it. Any point that touches the y-axis line, its x-coordinate is 0. Hence, it is called our y-intercept. I hope we get it. Now, hurry here. So now, the question will come and say that determine the equation in this form. Y is equals to ax plus q. This is the general equation for linear function. It's very basic and simple, guys. Yes. Now, how will we determine the equation of this function? Remember, in the previous lesson, I told you that a stands for our gradient, and q, it is our y-intercept, or it is our coordinate of our y-intercept. The value of q represents the coordinate of our y-intercept. Then from these 2 points, or from this graph, do we have a point or a y-intercept, or do we have the coordinates of our y-intercept? Yes, I just told you, go to this line, represent our y-axis, and any point that touches our y-axis, it is our y-intercept. Therefore, the coordinates of y-intercept are 0 and 3. Now, the q represents the y-coordinate of our y-intercept. Between 0 and 3, which one is our y-coordinate? Is 3. So 3 will be our value of q, basically, in this case. Therefore, basically, when they say you must find the equation, they're telling you that you must find the variables there, a and q. Not x and y, only a and q, or any letter besides x. Usually it is any letter besides x and y in an equation. You will see when you do many examples. Usually they will ask you to find the equation. They're talking about a and q, or any letter besides x and y. Leave out x and y, find a and q only. Now in space of q, we've put in 3. So y is equals to a x plus 3, because 3 is our q and our y-intercept, subsequently our y-coordinate of our y-intercept. Now, how do we find a? A is our gradient. Now, to find our gradient, there are 2 ways to find our gradient. Remember, gradient formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we can use these 2 points to find the gradient to find the value of a. You can use this point and this one and find the gradient. You will be able to find the value of a. Alternatively, the simplest method to use is by using any coordinate besides this one, 0 and 3, any coordinate on the graph, and substitute where you see x, you put in 8. You can use this point there, 8 and -1, and use it here to find the value of a. Where I see x, I put in 8, because I get 8 or x -1 ke y ya rona. So mo ke bonang 8 te kenya, mo ke bonang x te kenya 8, mo ke bonang y te kenya -1. That's basically what I'm going to do right now. So -1 is equals to a multiplied by 8. Mo ke bonang x, I substitute where I see 8, I put in x. Where I see x, I put in 8. Where I see y, I put in -1. That's basically the logic behind. Plus 3. Now, make a the subject of the formula. Solve for a. Solve for a. What's going to get the constant to the constant, the variable to the variables. This is a constant. Take this constant to the left, because this -1 is our constant also. -1 minus 3. 3, I bring a 3 to the left. Yes. So negative 1 minus 3 is equals to 8 times 8 is 8a. Now I'm going to do what? I'm going to divide both sides by 8 to be left with a on one side. This therefore a is equals to negative 1 minus 3 is negative 4. Negative 4 divided by 8 is, on a calculator, gives you negative 1 over 2. Therefore our equation is y is equals to negative 1 over 2 x plus 3. This is the equation of our function. Second question, guys. Number B. Another graph, it says that we've got a straight line here, 2 points, negative 2 and 4. Basically, determine the equation in the form of y is equals to ax plus q. Guys, ax plus q. Now your first question in your mind that needs to come is by asking yourself that, do we have the coordinates of our y-intercept? You need to have from the graph, do you have the coordinates of our intercept? Let us check. Now, what are coordinates of this point? Remember, this point lies on our y-axis line. And remember, on our y-axis line, the coordinates of any point there, irrespective of now whether that's point. Now, if you have a point on our y-axis line, guys, you must already understand that its x-coordinate is equal to 0. Any point that touches or that lies on this y-axis line, its x-coordinate is equal to 0. Hence, we call that point our y-intercept. Therefore, the coordinates of this point are 0 and positive 4. This is our y-intercept. Then we have got our x-axis here. We have a coordinate that lies on our x-axis line. Remember, any point that lies on our x-axis line, its y-coordinate is equal to 0. Hence, that point we call it our x-intercept, wherein our y is equal to 0. Therefore, the coordinates of this point are going to be negative 2 and 0. Please understand the difference between y-intercept and x-intercept. They will ask you to find the coordinates of our y-intercept and x-intercept. When they say you must find the coordinates of our y-intercept, you must just let x be 0 and solve for y. When they say you must find the coordinates of our x-intercept, you must just let y be 0 and solve for x. That's basically what does this question or this concept of intercept and finding the equation mean in this case. Let us come back to this question. You'll find the equation again. Now, do we have the coordinates of our y-intercept, or do we have our intercept as a point on our line or on our graph? Yes. This point 0 and 4 is our y-intercept. Now, remember, q represent the y-coordinate of our y-intercept, and in this case is 4. Basically, where I see q, I put in 4. Yes. Therefore, y is equals to ax plus 4, guys. And remember, our aim is to find q and a, not x and y. Please know the difference. Now, how do we find a? Remember, a, you can use any point on that lies only on that point or on that line graph, which means we're going to use any coordinates or point. We're going to use the coordinates of any point that lies on that straight line graph. And we've got negative 2 and 0. We can use these coordinates to solve for a. Basically, negative 2 and 0, we've got x coordinate and y coordinate here. For x, we've got negative 2. For y, I've got 0. Therefore, where I see x, I put in negative 2 here. Where I see y, I put in 0 to solve for a. Now, hurry. Y is 0. Here's our y, 0. 0 is equals to a multiplied by x negative 2 minus 2 plus 4. Now, the constant to the constant, the variables to the variables. How solve there for a? 0 is equals to a times negative 2 is negative 2a plus 4. 4 is our constant, 0 is our constant. Therefore, transpose this 4 to the left. And you talk about 0 minus 4. 0 minus 4 is equals to 2a. Now, I want to be left with a on one side only. Therefore, I divide both sides by 2. Therefore, a is equals to 0 minus 4 is negative 4. Negative 4 divided by 2 is no, it's supposed to be negative 2a. So apologies, guys. So I get this negative 2, it carries its sign all over. So it's going to be negative 2a divided by negative 2 one here. Negative 2, yes. So it over 0 minus 4 is negative 4. Negative 4 divided by negative 2 is positive 2. This is the value of a. Therefore, the equation again, y is equals to 2x plus 4. This is the equation of this function or of this graph. I hope you get it. So the question you must ask yourself at all times, you must understand that in a straight line, do we have the coordinates of our y-intercept? If yes, just take out that y-coordinate and put it where is CQ. That's the basic logic for our function in terms of finding the equation of the straight line. Let us go to the last question, guys. Yeah. The last question, guys, is very simple. Very simple, labo guys. Now, this question, guys, is very simple. We have a straight line with the equation in this form: y is equals to ax plus q. Yeah, very simple. Remember, here we're going to get gradient, and here we're going to get y-coordinate of our y-intercept. Now, the first question you should ask yourself in this case: from this graph, do you have the coordinates of our y-intercept? Do we have the coordinates of our y-intercept from this graph? Remember, our y-intercept is any point that lies on our y-axis on this line. We have the coordinates of. Do you have the coordinates of any point that lies on this line? Do you have the coordinates? Again, we have a point in here. We have this point here. Are we given the coordinates of that point? No. So you cannot substitute q here because there are no coordinates of our y-intercept. We only have 2 points that are not called even x-intercept or y-intercept. We have got -1 and 3, 3 and -1. There's no 0 here, or there's no 0 between x and y coordinate. There's no 0 there. So don't confuse the y-intercept and x-intercept with these points. These are just points on the graph, basically. They don't represent any intercept here. Please, guys, don't be confused. Now, if you do not have the coordinates of a y-intercept in this case, what you're gonna do is to use the formula of our gradient to find the value of a first. I mean, there are various ways to simplify this problem, but one of the simplest ways is to find the gradient of this line. And remember, the gradient represents the value of a. They can write it as y is equals to mx plus c. It's the same thing. M here is our gradient, C here is our y-intercept or y-coordinate of our y-intercept. These two equations or formulas are the same. Yeah. Now, how do you find the value of a? Gradient formula. A here is equals to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This is equals to, now you need to label the coordinates of our graph. That means you label the coordinates on the graph, so you can label them at any cost, or you can choose between this point to start with this point or this point. It's your choice, but any point j. So now I can label them by saying, okay, I can say this is my x1, my y1. You must label them according to y2, y1, x2, y2 in this way. You must represent, they must have each and every point here or term must have a representation here. So I represent, so x1, y1, obviously x2, y2. So you cannot have x1, y2. It must be x1, y1. You must not repeat x1 again on this part. It must be x1, y1, x2, y2, or x2, y2, x1, y1. Simple as that. X coordinate, y coordinate, x2, y2. Simple. Hurry, y2 give guy ki -1. Hurry, -1 minus y1 give guy ki 3 ki -3 divided by x2 give guy ki 3. Minus -1. Then x into x1 ki -1. Remember, you open the bracket to accommodate this negative 1, because you're gonna get it wrong if you don't accommodate it. So it will be -1 inside the bracket. You close the bracket, then you put this on the calculator. -1 minus 3 is -4. negative times negative, you put that about 3 plus 1 is 4. Okay? So it about negative 4 divided by 4 is negative 1. I hope you guys get it. Ne? Yes, correct. Therefore, our equation is going to be y is equals to minus. I get for a, you put in minus 1. Okay? Minus invisible 1. Okay? Minus x plus q. Very simple and key. Now, how are you going to find the value of q? How are you going to find the value of q, guys? Very simple. Ne? You use any point as long as that point it touches this graph. So which point touches this graph? There are 2 points that touches this graph. Is this point and this one. So you're going to use any point. As long as that point touches the graph, what like equation at day, you must use it. So let us use any point between this one and this one. Let me just use negative 1 and 3. So basically this means so good. How you like q? Mo ke bonang x teng. Mo ke x coordinate ya mona. Mo ke bonang y teng ke y coordinate ya mona. That's very basic and simple. Hurry, y ya rona ke feng? Ke 3. Ke 3 is equals to minus ya rona ina ke. Then x rona ke bokae? Ke x rona ke negative 1. Ke kenya negative 1 inside the bracket ke accommodate plus q. So for q, hurry, negative times negative is positive 1 plus q is equals to 3. Therefore, q I say I transpose this one to that side. Look about 3 minus 1 is 2. Therefore, our equation is equals to y a negative and here x plus 2 and here for q. You are done. Thank you very much, guys. This is how you find the equation of this graph. Ne? I'm just done with finding the equation of straight line. In the next video, parabola and other various questions, straight line, obviously, and so on and all and all.